Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Anemone. This movie is directed by first-time director Ronan Day-Lewis, and the movie stars Daniel Day-Lewis, Sean Bean, and Samantha Morton. Now, the plot of this movie follows Jem Stoker, played by Sean Bean, who tries to reunite with his estranged brother in his isolated cabin, where personal and family secrets are revealed. Now, when I first saw the trailer to this movie, I was like, all right, this is probably going to be super dramatic, super sad, but it might be one of those movies where it's two characters in one location talking, arguing, fighting, making up type thing. I knew it was going to be a personal family drama, and I was sold on Daniel Day-Lewis, and Sean Bean is also really good in everything he's in. So, having seen the movie, I can honestly say that it was more than one location, and there were those aspects that I mentioned, but there were some other outside things that didn't make me love this movie. Now, the acting in this movie is really good from the two leads. We get some side characters in the movie, which they are good, but they're not shown as often. And the center point here is Daniel Day-Lewis and Sean Bean. And so as these two brothers that are estranged that haven't seen each other, and I think it's 20 years, they definitely portray that in this movie. The movie also does something really interesting where for the first 15 minutes of the movie, it just follows Sean Bean on his way to this cabin. And when he finally gets there, it doesn't show Daniel Day-Lewis right away. He doesn't speak right away. And so it has this mystery to the character where you're like, okay, what's he going to look like? What's he going to sound like? And then when he finally speaks, his first line dialogue, you're like, okay, I can get a sense of who this character is and what he's about. And that's what makes this movie so good, is that you have the character of Daniel Day-Lewis who can play a nice, sweet man, as he has in the past, like in Lincoln. Then there are other movies, like There Will Be Blood, where he can play a really hard, angry, grief-stricken, shut off type of person. And when you have a character that's very hardened and very, quiet and just kind of a jerk, you know that at some point that character is going to crash out. We're going to get some scene where he breaks down, admits things, or gets sad, and we do get that in this movie, though it's later in the movie. Sean Bean is good in this role, but he was very reserved. Now, there is some heavy subject matter in this movie involving families and the IRA and war and being a soldier that when those type of dialogues are being had, the other character's not going to add up. Yeah, okay, I understand. Type of dialogue. There's going to be that silence, but it was almost as if Sean Bean's character didn't know how to react to certain things, as if he was just shook. Or, since so much time had passed, that, his reaction wasn't going to be quick. It was all just, thought processing. And from an actor like Sean Bean, who's really good, I wanted more from his character. You have side characters in this film, one played by Samantha Morton, who was the wife of Ray Stoker, Daniel Lewis's character, and we get shots of her and her son, played by Sam Bottomley, but those shots kind of took you out of the movie, and I'll explain why. So Samantha Morton is trying to explain to her son who his father is. He's estranged from his dad, and so she's trying to give him backstory as to who he is. But what it does is it has scenes where Jim and Ray are arguing or exercising or drinking or sharing a meal or, training, and it's a really captivating scene, and then it'll cut to the mother or the son doing something very slowly. Like, even the colors change in his scenes, and it just takes you out of it. It's like, okay, I want more intrigue, I want more dialogue with the two characters, and they keep cutting back to the son. Now, my only guess as to why that happened is, since Daniel Day-Lewis's son directed this movie, there has to be some of this film has to lie in some truth or some real life experience that he experienced with his dad. And so maybe his feelings are kind of shared in this film. We won't know. Another thing that kind of took me out of the film is there's a lot of imagery. There's imagery at the beginning of the movie of a kid's drawing of basically like Irish in their war and the IRA and bombs and whatnot, which is pretty heavy. And then there's more dialogue later on about things that happened during wartime that kind of give you a glimpse into why certain people are the way they are. There's also scenes involving, a moment with Daniel Day Lewis's father and his dad that's pretty heavy. But there's moments where Daniel Day Lewis is dreamlike, where he sees certain characters, certain imagery while he's asleep that adds to the movie, but I'm not really sure what it added. Also, this film did a good job of having the one location, more or less, with two actors, because it makes you feel the tension in the one spot. Now, there are moments where they walk, they do travel, and it takes you elsewhere, which is nice because it kind of shows Sean Bean reintroducing his brother to, the world, humanity, family, if you will. And the end of the movie, the end I did like. So this movie is really just based on the acting. It's one of those movies, kind of like The Banshees of Inisherin or Sunset Limited, where you have two characters that are really good at what they do, just acting across from each other. And that's what this movie is based on. The storyline could have been better. There was so much revealed about Ray Stoker's character and really not enough about his son and why his son was in trouble or was in the situation he was in. They kind of drop hints, but it's not really clear. So because this was a really good directorial debut from Daniel Day-Lewis's son, Ronan, but this was majorly just based on the acting skill from Daniel Day-Lewis and not so much the story, I'm going to give Anemone a B-. So until next time, guys, see ya.